that's what that is. Is that just the name of it? Workstation. I guess it's just the name of it. It's funny. Workstation. So that tree they gotta cut down. It's gonna fall on the road. That's how the trees were that were leaning over my house. And I didn't really want to cut them down, but you got to use common sense. I let them be there for a while, and they were jack pines. Jack pines don't seem to have a real long lifespan, but they weren't like huge, mature. They weren't 100 years old or anything. But I let them be there, and I let them be there, and I let them be there, and I went to the laundromat and washed my clothes, and this was in the fall. This is like in the late fall. This was a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And there was a guy parked nearby that said tree service. And I told him, I says, I got a few trees that are kind of leaning over the house. He says, could you look at them and give me a quote? And so he looked at them, and I had him cut them down. I decided to go ahead and have him cut them down. There was 3 trees. I had him cut 2 of the 3 trees down. I still got the 3rd one. And 2 weeks later, we had a terrible snow. It was real heavy. And there was another jack pine I had in the yard, and it went right uprooted. And it was leaning in a similar way that those trees were, except for it wasn't as big. And I used it for firewood, but those 2 trees could have fallen on my house. And he had cut them down no more than a week he cut them down on Thanksgiving Day. And it was like a week later we got that snow. And it was a real heavy snow in it. And I think there might have been wind too or something, but there were trees lost all over. It was real heavy snow. And that could have dropped those trees on my house. Those 2 trees. The 3rd one was fine. It's still there. That one's not threatening the house as much. It's a bigger tree, but it's not leaning right over the actual house. It's leaning over that little tower type thing I built, which I don't want to lose that either. But it's almost like a guardian angel is there, like, yeah, you cut these trees down, and cut those down, and he dropped them right where I wanted them. And yeah, it cost some money to do it, but how much would it cost to redo your roof? And then that next year, I put a new roof on the house. And that was cost some money. You don't want to put a new roof on the house and have it all dented up. That other tree is a pretty sizable tree, and he gave me a quote on it. I don't know if it was $400 or $500 to do that one. I think it was $800 for the other 2. I had a little extra money in it. It wasn't cheap to do though. I don't know what the normal price for that is, but I consulted other people before I did it to see what could be done there, if I could do it, or kind of came to the conclusion that I shouldn't do it. They're just leaning too much against the house. But I cut them up for firewood. They were jack pine. Jack pine is good firewood. You can even use it. You wouldn't use it when it's below 0, but you could use it in the winter. You wouldn't use it when it's like 0. Definitely not at night. But you could use it for heating in the winter. It's a pretty hardy wood. And it's not full of, it's not going to come up, well, won't come up my chimney. I take care of my chimney. I clean that chimney every year. And I've burned that jack pine and I've never had any trouble with it. I've never seen it build up or anything. You gotta cure this stuff. It doesn't take terribly long to cure. If you cut it in March before things start growing, you can use it that fall. That's what my experience is. So you gotta cut it before the darn things start growing though. That's what I would advise. And cut them up and split them. Split them small enough that they'll be dry enough to use that fall. But you gotta split it. And jack pine ain't real hard. I split it by hand. I split all my wood by hand. If there's a log I can't split, I just cut it with a chainsaw. I mean, maybe I'll first try the wedge and the hammer, but if I can't split it, I just cut it with the chainsaw. I'm supposed to cut it with the grain.